Welcome to Course 3, Unit 1. In this unit, you'll find out about the stages involved in developing an ISO international standard. Before diving into this course, make sure you're clear on the topics that were covered in Course 1, the basics, and Course 2, who develops international standards. This slide shows the traditional process that is followed when developing an international standard. As the document progresses towards the publication stage, the threshold for consensus increases, and this is what makes the ISO process so robust. Each stage is reviewed in more detail throughout this module. If you would like to see a matrix presentation of the various project stages, see the ISO IEC Directives Part 1, Annex F. The preliminary stage is optional. It allows committees to register work items that aren't sufficiently mature to go to further stages, and for which target dates can't yet be set. This stage can be useful for developing an initial draft for a new work item proposal. If a project does not progress beyond this stage within 3 years, it will be automatically cancelled. This stage is used to propose a new standard, or a new part of an existing standard. This stage is also used for proposing a technical specification or a publicly available specification. New projects can be proposed by various stakeholders, such as a national body, a Category A liaison organisation, or the Secretariat of the committee. The proposer must fill in Form 4, and they must fully justify the market need for the standard. Acceptance requires a 2/3 majority of P members voting, and a commitment to actively participate from at least 5 P members, or 4 if there are fewer than 16 P members in the committee. Once accepted, a new project is registered in the programme of work and the target dates are set. The nominated experts then start working on the document, which is now called a working draft, either within an existing working group or by creating a new one specifically for this project. This is called the preparatory stage and culminates with a final working draft that can be approved and registered as a committee draft. When a draft reaches the committee draft stage, it is the first time that it goes outside the working group. The draft undergoes extra scrutiny by being circulated to the national standards bodies who are members of the committee. Remember though that this stage is optional and can be skipped if certain conditions are met, as described in Annex SS of the Directives Part 1. The committee draft is balloted, usually for 8 weeks. The Secretariat then compiles the comments and circulates them to all P and O members, along with a proposal for how to proceed. This can be either to discuss the CD at the next meeting, to circulate a revised draft, or, if sufficient consensus has been reached, to register the CD for the inquiry stage. The resolution of comments usually needs the working group experts to meet and discuss. The inquiry stage is a real test of the draft's viability as an international standard, as this is when it is scrutinised by all national bodies during a 12-week vote. Approval requires 2/3 of the votes cast by P members of the committee to be in favour, and not more than 1/4 of the total number of votes cast to be negative. A negative vote must be accompanied by technical reasons or they will not be counted. Depending on the results of the ballot, the chair, in conjunction with the Secretariat and the project leader, has several options. If the draft was approved with no technical changes, then it can go straight to publication at this stage. If it was approved, but there are technical changes that need to be incorporated, then the draft progresses to the approval stage, which we will look at in just a minute. If the vote fails and the approval criteria are not met, Then they can either circulate a revised draft for another DIS vote, circulate it as a committee draft for commenting, or discuss it at the next meeting. A draft submitted for approval stage is now called a final draft international standard. The voting period is 8 weeks, and the approval criteria are the same as for the DIS, i.e. 2/3 majority of P members in favour and not more than a quarter of the votes negative. If the FDIS is approved, the draft proceeds to publication. And remember that no technical changes can be made at this point. Only editorial errors can be corrected before publication. Technical comments made at this stage can be considered at the next revision of the standard. If the FDIS is not approved, it must go back to the committee so that they can consider the technical reasons for the failure of the vote. Either they can submit a modified draft at the committee, inquiry or approval stage. They can publish a technical specification or a publicly available specification, as those deliverables require a lower level of consensus. You can see Course 1, Unit 4 for more information on that. Or they can cancel the project. Hopefully the document will pass the ballot and make it to publication stage. This is the stage when ISO-CS corrects any errors indicated by the committee secretariat and publishes the final document. Here is a reminder of all the different stages and the corresponding documents. So we started with the preliminary work item. That became a new work item proposal, which was approved to become a working draft. The draft was then circulated as a committee draft before becoming a draft international standard. It then progressed to a final draft international standard before being published as an international standard. Remember that not all of these stages are compulsory. We will explain more about which stages can be skipped in Course 3, Unit 3. Thank you.